This show is brought to you by Directory.com, the safest way to hire a contractor.
Welcome back to Morning Brew with the Homeowners. I'm your host, Dmitry Lipinski. I've been a contractor my whole adult life for the past 20 years. And today I help homeowners to make smart decisions when hiring a contractors. We share on this show a lot of nightmare experiences. Today we're going to talk about small mistakes homeowners make and sometimes contractors make that they did not put in writing. We'll cover stories about contracts, about little issues with the contracts, little detail stuff that nobody likes. Nobody likes to read the fine print. Today, I'll share with you what happens in those situations. In the studio, I have Randy from Texas and Jonathan Bros from Florida. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, excited to be here today, man. Thank you.
We have some spicy stories. So this one, the first one, actually this week, I have a contractor reaching out to me and said, Dmitry, I want to stay anonymous, but this happened to me and I want to share the story how I lost $20,000. So contractor learns the $20,000 lesson story is our first segment. I'm drinking my third cup of coffee. I don't know what's your drink, guys, but coffee for me, morning or afternoon, all day long. That's how we go. So our first story is a cautionary tale for both homeowners and contractors, actually. In this case, the contractor shared the story with us, actually on Facebook and other people from making the mistake he did. Here's what happened. The contractor was referred to the homeowner by her insurance after water damage to her home. The insurance company initially offered $4,000. After he submitted a detailed estimate with code references, they raised the payout to $44,000. Actually, very, very common. Something's telling me it was probably repair estimated first, and then he got them to approve the entire scope of work. The homeowner approved a revised scope of work, and they signed a contract, but he left out one key detail, a start date. The contractor has a recording of her approving the work and text confirming everything, but that's missing start date ended up costing him. The work was completed, including extra tasks at no charge, and the homeowner even complimented the job. After it was done, contractor reached out to schedule a final inspection and collect signatures. And then the homeowner suddenly refused to pay the remaining $20,000. She claimed he lied about already completing the final inspection, which was actually a rough inspection, not final. She also told him that he had already made enough money. Heard that before. Despite having documentations and even a witness, there's not enough legal weight to recover the full payment. He's not pursuing, legal action against them. It would cost him more money, and it's not a promising case for him, according to his lawyers. The contractor believes this was the homeowner's plan from the beginning, since she told him they could confirm the start date later on. Unfortunately, he can't prove it. So main takeaways are whether you're homeowner or contractor, always make sure there's a clear start and finish date in your contracts. There's no guarantee that verbal agreements and text will protect you in court, even if they help your case. Guys, what do you think? This is an interesting story for me because it does happen, and it's not often that it happens. But I'm a little bit confused what actually took place here about the start date. How do you take the story?
I would I had to chuckle when you made the comment about the original scope of work being $4,000, but it ended up being $44,000. You gave a lot more grace to the insurance company than oftentimes we see, but um, you know, the start date, I still didn't understand entirely through the story itself where the start. It sounded like their biggest hangup was the final inspection,
Mhm.
but it does sound like the customer was being a little petty and almost got the same vibe just based on the information shared that this was their intention all along, that they kind of knew what they were doing. We've heard it before as well that, oh, you've made plenty of money. I don't need to pay this balance. I've whenever we have heard it, I've always wondered like, how does the customer know what my costs are? That they even know what our net profits are. But
I'll tell you how they would go to the Home Depot. They'll calculate, okay, if it's $44,000 job, materials cannot be more than 10,000, and I know he's not paying those roofers $30,000, so he's pocketing like 20 grand. That's how they do it.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely layman math is what I would call it. But yeah, I'm definitely in this case. A lot of the time in this show, we talk about how contractors uh, screw customers. In this case, I definitely am on the side of the contractor. It sounds like the customer took advantage, but it's the nugget here to walk away with is get everything in writing. Even if you have a conversation with a customer, follow it up with a text and ask them to confirm that how you understood was how they understood. Because unfortunately, the good guys oftentimes are the ones that this happens to. They have the best intentions. They think that everybody has the same heart that they have. And then this is the end result. So I always tell all my guys, I don't care if you talk to a customer, confirm it in a text following that conversation, all the key details so that it is somewhere documented.
John, what do you have?
Yeah, I concur on that. I think as we grew and the bigger that we got, it like prior to being over a certain number, we didn't have deep with these issues. I do think that once you get to a certain size, you got a certain amount of marketing that's happening. Like I do think that you get targeted as a contractor. But with that said, with what Randy said too, I think the main thing is you got to have an SOP for documentation. Like it has to be documented, whatever that is, right? Something in writing. And unfortunately, I like to work on a handshake. Like I think the three of us in this conversation, I could shake your guys' hand and be comfortable with it. But I don't think that's that way anymore with homeowners. So or with contractors. So I think both ways around. I think that document is what protects both sides.
That's
So
right.
just make sure that whatever the state laws are, abide by it.
My advice to this guy is definitely proceed with the lien rights. I mean, $20,000 is a big enough amount. That's where lien is the easiest thing you can do. It costs you $100. Just go file a lien. I think it's gonna be hard to remove the lien. I know you can remove the lien, but it's not an easy process. And if people sell the home, sooner or later you're gonna get paid. When I had my flooring business, I had a customer who wrote. I did a change order, and they wrote do not agree on a signature. And like I was blown away by how much creativity homeowner can put in place to screw the contractor. When I tried to collect, it was like $300 change order. We went from thin carpet or super thick carpet, and I'm like, why would you do it? It's just like it's so shady, right? And in this case, the homeowner knew exactly what they're doing. They're counting their money, even by saying how much money you made or you made enough. Like usually it happens on the final payment of a couple $1,000s. People will say, you've made good on this money. Like, and by the way, I want to speak out on this topic. Roofers on average, and I've traveled to over 200 roofing companies, their net profit margin in the roofing business is, on average is 10%. Very good would be 15%. I've seen companies who have 5%. So if they do $5 million a year, which is, you're talking about hundreds of these jobs, right? You do 100 jobs a year, and at the end, you lucky if you have $500,000. But 100 jobs a year, it's a lot of liability. It's a lot of workers. You have workers comp, you have different insurances. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to it. And if nothing happens, if if your crew will not re-roof their own house, if nobody falls, if you don't have claims, you'll be lucky to have 10%. Sometimes you lose money. First 2-3 years in business, contractors don't even make money. So stop counting their money, because you don't know the stories where they lose money per job. And this is one of them. This guy lost $20,000. He will have to do $200,000 worth of work to offset this job. So think about that.
Oh yeah, I remember the years when we first started our construction company, our other company, and our first half dozen jobs, we were in the red at the end of every job, but we knew that if we were going to make it with that company, that we needed to learn from that, and that was just we paid for our education, and so yeah, the margins are definitely a lot thinner than most people would believe once you cover all your costs and everything.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will share another story and answer the question, who pays when the demo crew goes too far? We're talking about those jobs where crew replaces their own roof. Don't go anywhere.